My friends, let me tell you about a very special place that I was referred to called These Guys Brewing Company, located at 78 Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut. Founded in 2015 by two of the most gracious hosts I have ever encountered in the restaurant business, Ray and Rebecca Alberts, alongside General Manager Carly St. Martin, takes every necessary step to make sure that your experience at These Guys Brewing is always an exceptional one. They are an independent brew pub with a selection of handcrafted beers to satisfy all. As a matter of fact, they are currently finishing construction on a larger brewery to handle the demand. Located close to the center of Norwich, only 10 minutes from the casinos, their menu is spectacular, and they also have nightly themes such as Burger and Brew Tuesdays, Trivia Wednesdays, and Buckashuck Thursdays. They also offer brunch on Sundays from 10:30 to 1, and every fourth Thursday of the month offers a special pairing dinner. I will be doing a live podcast from These Guys Brewing Company on June 20th. That's a Thursday night from 5 to 7 p.m. Why don't you come down and say hello to Ray, Rebecca, and Carly and your old pal, Double T? You can walk away with a nice door price courtesy of These Guys Brewing. So remember, the live podcast is on June 20th, but that doesn't mean you have to wait. Go down to These Guys Brewing, located at 78 Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut. Folks, trust me, this is a place that you want to be.
She gets hungry for dinner at 8. She loves the theater and never comes late. She never bothers with people she hates. That's why the lady is a tramp.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Double T Podcast Network. I am your humble host, Double T, wishing everybody a happy Memorial Day weekend. My friends, a few weeks ago, I did a podcast on the 4 trials of Donald Trump. And there was one resounding message that I tried to get across, and that is that our President Joe Biden has weaponized the Department of Justice in order to eradicate his political enemy, Donald Trump. Let's face it, I think most Americans are waking up to the fact that the 94 indictments are all falling at the same time, and all 4 cases are trying to be crammed into an election year to keep Trump off the campaign trail, and it can be construed as election interference. And the only way that you can do this is if you have the Department of Justice in your pocket. Also, having George Soros funded district attorneys working for you doesn't hurt. They bring these cases forward, and I think the ironic thing is their inability to bring a case with any real substance. They're all falling apart one by one. My favorite is the one down in Georgia with Fani Willis, where they just felt so empowered. They went above and beyond the rule of law, and they thought that they were invincible. I do not believe that any of these 94 indictments will hold. I think there's a good possibility of some disbarments and some civil lawsuits coming back the other way. I also believe that the House and Senate should pass some legislation that if a candidate runs on the premise of getting an individual, a vendetta, they should not be allowed to run. Letitia James and Alvin Bragg both ran on the platform that they were going to get Trump. This is a good opportunity for our House and Senate to work on some good bipartisan legislation for election reform. Now, what good does this do New York City? Just isolating the New York case. What good does it do New York City and New York State? How interested do you think that anybody is in bringing their businesses into New York, knowing that the prosecutors will come after you if they don't like you? President Joe Biden should not be afraid of any opponent. He claims that the economy is doing great. He claims that we are stronger than ever before. He claims that we could take another 2 million people into the country via the southern border. Joe says we are better than we were before under Trump. Joe says he inherited a mess that he had to clean up. If that's your record, put it on the line and run against any and all challengers. You don't weaponize the Department of Justice to handicap your opponent. You only do that if you're scared. And my guess is Joe is scared. Scared of two things: not making the ticket at the convention or losing the election. Now, there's some talk because they got a problem. The Democratic ticket has a big problem. They certainly don't want Kamala as president, but she's a woman of color. So there's a problem. Latest rumor out there on the rumor mill is that they're going to promise her a Supreme Court justiceship if she comes up with a cancer scare and steps away. The latest I heard is they're talking about Gavin Newsom and Michelle Obama, with Michelle Obama as at the top of the ticket. I think that's crazy. I will never make fun of anybody with dementia or Alzheimer's because that has hit my life very hard, and it is an insidious disease. But it is quite clear that Joe is showing signs of dementia and mental degeneration, and I think they're just using him as an empty suit. I think it's elder abuse, quite frankly. But having said that, the purpose of today's show is calling into question the behavior of our commander-in-chief, not only his behavior today, but his behavior over his lifetime. Now, we all know that Joe's an absolute liar. All right. We know that he plagiarized speeches by Robert Kennedy and Neil Kinnock of the UK. We know that he plagiarized a report that he did in college. He lied about having 2 college degrees and finishing at the top of his class in law school. I believe he finished 76th out of 85 in his class. So we've established the kind of guy Joe Biden is. Now let's talk about not crooked Joe Biden, creepy Joe Biden. One of the things that has really turned my stomach over the past 4 years is watching the president and his inappropriate behavior with young women. Now, we all know the story way back when about Tara Reid after a Democratic luncheon in which Joe got pretty drunk and sexually molested this girl who was a server at the luncheon. What could she do against such powerful people? She was stifled. I don't know if they gave her money to shut her up. I don't know why that thing never went any further than it did. But I'm talking about little girls now that come to the White House in groups, and he takes photos with them. And he's always playing with their hair and putting his hands around their waist, very close to their breast line, smelling their hair. And you can obviously see how uncomfortable it makes some of these young children. And quite frankly, it turns my stomach. I'm a father of 2 daughters. I mean, that may, these are the signs of a child molester. Now, I get what you're thinking. You're saying, Double T, you're jumping to conclusions. Well, You may be right. But that brings us to the topic of today, which is the Journal of Ashley Blaze Biden. You don't hear a lot about Ashley Biden, and I'm not sure if that's on purpose, but she is the daughter of Joe and Jill Biden, sister to Hunter and Beau Biden. Now, I will never criticize anyone for going into an alcohol or drug rehab. I encourage anybody who is stuck with this disease, who wants to get better, to do so. And I fully support anybody, because this is close and personal to me also. But somewhere around 2018, Ashley Biden was in an alcohol drug rehab in Delray Beach, Florida. When she was discharged, and I don't know why she did this, but she stored some personal items underneath the bed, including her personal journal. It's almost like Hunter Biden leaving the laptops at the repair shop with John MacIsaac. It appears to be a cry for help, or somebody wanting to get the story out, or just wanting whatever madness in their life is going on to end. So Ashley Harris and Robert Calander. Ashley Harris ended up in the room, and she was friends with this guy, Robert Calander. They were recently charged with transporting stolen property across state lines. That stolen property was the Journal of Ashley Biden that was found in that room in Delray Beach, Florida, in an alcohol and drug rehab. Initially, the plan was to sell it to the highest bidder. And that was an organization called National File, who in turn turned it over to Project Veritas. It was authenticated by handwriting and a phone call made to Ashley Biden. This was very soon before the 2020 presidential election, and Project Veritas declined to publish the story but kept the journal. Now, keep in mind that this journal was written somewhere between 2018 and 2019 by a 30-plus-year-old woman, not a child. And this journal was left behind. And Harris's only goal was to make money, and the journal ended up with Project Veritas reporter James O'Keefe. The two that sold it were arrested and charged by the Southern District Court of New York, which brings to mind one question. When have you ever seen the Department of Justice raid a reporter's home for a journal? It's one more example of Joe Biden using the Department of Justice as his own personal police force. What could this journal possibly contain? For any of you that don't know, journaling is something that is encouraged in rehab because it's really a drill down and helps you establish root causes of problems and of your issues. Excerpts from this journal have been published. The journal has not been published in full. I do respect Ms. Biden and her privacy, and I will not read you everything that was published. If you're that interested in this, you can go look it up yourself. But this woman has been through hell in back, claiming her mother was emotionally unavailable, but her daddy was always loving. She remembered being molested at a young age and being hypersexualized. Remembered showing her panties to the little boys when she was in second grade and having a very hyper sex drive because of that. And here is the one quote from the journal that I will read. And it said, quote, "At a young age, showers from my dad Sorry about that. At a young age, showers with my dad probably not appropriate and being aroused when I should have not been. It's just like Special Prosecutor Robert Hur said, he'll come off to a jury like a kind, well-meaning old man with a poor memory. That is your commander-in-chief. My friends, I'm going to ask you something that Ronald Reagan said best when he ran against Jimmy Carter. Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? If there was a better candidate, I would vote for him. I don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats. I vote for the person. I just want the person that's going to do the best job for the country. Another great quote came from Clinton Democratic strategist James Carville, who said, "It's the economy, stupid." You might not like Trump as a person or a human being, but you can't say our country wasn't better off 4 years ago. When gas was $1.87 a gallon, we were energy independent, our strategic oil reserves were full, there was no wars going on in the entire world. We defeated the ISIS caliphate. Groceries were affordable. I think you're going to see a little bit more of a measured Donald Trump this go around. I do believe, in my guess, and you've heard it here first, I do believe he is going to choose Marco Rubio as his running mate. I think Marco Rubio is a young, strong, popular Latino voice. Because, folks, we have to dig out of the mess that this Democratic Party has put us in. The Inflation Reduction Act, a joke. The Green New Deal, all this electronic vehicle nonsense. Bidenomics, none of it is working. It's putting us out of business. Did you see 100,000 people at a Trump rally in, of all places, one of the bluest of blue states, New Jersey? And did you see the people that rallied for Trump in the Bronx in New York? This guy's got a way of connecting with people. And the next 150 days are going to be extremely interesting. So, from the bottom of my heart, I do wish Ashley Biden the best. I do feel sorry for her. I really kind of feel sorry for Hunter for growing up in that family where family was not as important as money. And as I tell you every week, and I am going to rob something from Carly St. Martin over at These Guys Brewing Company. So, Carly, with your permission, if you have the opportunity to stop and smell the roses, I suggest you do so, because tomorrow is not granted to anybody. And if you have the opportunity to do so, make a random act of kindness to somebody. Take that opportunity. For if you do a random act of kindness for somebody, this world will be a much better place to live. Until we meet again, this is Double T saying ciao. My friends, let me tell you about a very special place that I was referred to called These Guys Brewing Company, located at 78 Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut. Founded in 2015 by two of the most gracious hosts I have ever encountered in the restaurant business, Ray and Rebecca Alberts, alongside General Manager Carly St. Martin, takes every necessary step to make sure that your experience at These Guys Brewing is always an exceptional one. They are an independent brew pub with a selection of handcrafted beers to satisfy all. As a matter of fact, they are currently finishing construction on a larger brewery to handle the demand. Located close to the center of Norwich, only 10 minutes from the casinos, their menu is spectacular, and they also have nightly themes such as Burger and Brew Tuesdays, Trivia Wednesdays, and Buckashuck Thursdays. They also offer brunch on Sundays from 10:30 to 1, and every fourth Thursday of the month offers a special pairing dinner. I will be doing a live podcast from These Guys Brewing Company on June 20th. That's a Thursday night from 5 to 7 p.m. Why don't you come down and say hello to Ray, Rebecca, and Carly and your old pal, Double T? You can walk away with a nice door price courtesy of These Guys Brewing. So remember, the live podcast is on June 20th, but that doesn't mean you have to wait. Go down to These Guys Brewing, located at 78 Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut. Folks, trust me, this is a place that you want to be.